Good morning to all of you. I welcome you to Vignan's Foundation for Science, Technology and Research. Myself N. Bharat Kumar, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. So, now we are going to discuss about Unit 2. So, in Unit 2, we are going to discuss about the fundamentals of AC circuits. So, Unit 2 is going to be entirely dedicated for the single phase as well as three phase circuits which are going to be supplied by AC voltage or current source. Okay. So now let us discuss the contents of this unit. So unit 2 has basically divided into two parts. First one is single phase AC circuit and second one is three phase AC circuits. So in single phase AC circuits, the first concept we are discussing is about the generation of AC voltage. How the AC voltage is going to be generated. Next, second, we are discussing about the important terms and our important definitions that are there in single phase AC circuits. And finally, we are discussing about the analysis of single phase AC circuits, which involves the basic elements or LC. In the first unit, we analyze or we simplify the circuits which contain only resistor. But in case of this AC circuits, we are also going to include the other two basic elements which are nothing but inductor and capacitor. And we are going to analyze the circuits with the combination of these three elements. And coming to three phase, in three phase AC circuits, since the three phase means we are going to have three wires, three phase wires. And we are going to connect these three phase wires either in star connected system or in delta connected system. So that's why we are going to discuss about this star connected system as well as delta connected system in case of three phase AC system. And particularly, we are going to study these balanced systems only. As part of the syllabus, we are going to study balanced three phase star connected or delta connected systems. And finally, we are going to derive the relation between the phase quantities as well as line quantities. Okay. So these are the contents that are there in unit 2. So let's move on to the first concept, the generation of AC voltage, how AC voltage is going to be generated. So what is AC voltage? First of all, it is a quantity which changes, polarity at regular intervals of time. So the quantity which changes polarity at regular intervals of time is called an alternating quantity. In case of the electrical circuits, we are going to call this quantity as either voltage or current. So what is this quantity? The voltage or current. So in general, we have defined the alternating quantity as the quantity which changes polarity at regular intervals of time is known as alternating quantity. So if you observe the waveforms here, first one is a sinusoidal waveform, next one is a square waveform, and the third one is the triangular waveform. All these three waveforms are going to be called as alternating quantities. So all these three waveforms are called as alternating quantities because if you observe here from 0 to certain instant of time, the magnitude is positive above x-axis, above time axis, and from this point to this point the magnitude is negative. So for some time it is positive, for remaining time it is negative. Similarly, if you see here, the polarity is positive here and the polarity is negative here. And in case of triangular waveform, the polarity is positive here and the polarity is negative here. So that's why these quantities are called as alternating quantities. Okay. The alternating quantity can be generated in two ways. So this alternating quantity can be generated in two ways. First way of generating AC voltage is by rotating a coil. So you are going to rotate a coil inside a stationary or uniform magnetic field. By rotating a coil inside a stationary uniform magnetic field at constant speed, we can generate AC voltage. What is the second one? By rotating the magnetic field around a stationary coil. So in the first case, we are going to rotate the coil in stationary magnetic field. In stationary magnetic field. In the second case, we are going to rotate the magnetic field around a stationary coil. So you can simply remember these two ways. So first one, we are rotating the coil in a stationary magnetic field. One, we are rotating the magnetic field around a stationary coil. By means of these two, we can generate AC voltage. Okay. So the alternating voltage is usually represented using a sine wave. The sine wave is universally going to be used to represent a alternating voltage. What is the reason of using this only the sinusoidal? Why we are not going to use square wave or triangular wave? It is easy to obtain or to perform mathematical operations on sinusoidal waveform. That's why universally we are going to use sinusoidal to represent an AC voltage. Okay. So this is the expression in general we are going to use to represent a sinusoidal AC voltage. V is equals to Vm sin theta. Here this Vm is called the magnitude or maximum value, or sometimes it may be called as amplitude also, and theta is the phase. So Vm is the magnitude and theta is the phase. Next. Now watch a simple AV on how we are going to generate an AC voltage.
An AC generator works on the principle of electromagnetic induction. In electromagnetic induction, when there is a relative motion between a coil and a magnetic field, an electric current or EMF is induced in the coil. When the armature rotates between the poles of the field magnet, the magnetic flux linked with the armature changes continuously. As a result, an EMF is induced in the armature. This in turn produces an electric current. Note that the galvanometer needle swings between the negative and positive values. This means that an alternating current is flowing through the galvanometer. Suppose the armature takes t seconds to complete one rotation clockwise. At time t is equal to 0 second, the armature ABCD is vertical with arm AB up and arm CD down. At this position, when the armature rotates, the rate of change of magnetic flux is momentarily zero. Hence, the induced EMF at this position is zero. During the first quarter rotation, the induced EMF increases. Then, at time t upon 4 seconds, the armature becomes horizontal. At this position, the rate of change of magnetic flux momentarily attains the maximum value. Therefore, the induced EMF at this position is maximum. During the second quarter rotation, the induced EMF decreases. Then, at time t upon 2, the armature again becomes vertical and therefore the induced EMF is zero. During the third quarter rotation, the induced EMF increases but has an opposite polarity as compared to that of the first half rotation. At time 3t upon 4 seconds, the induced EMF attains its maximum negative value. During the fourth quarter rotation, the induced EMF decreases and becomes zero momentarily at time t seconds, as the armature is vertical once again. So the magnitude of the induced EMF is sinusoidal.
An EMF means electromotive force is induced in a coil when it rotates in a magnetic field. This way, alternating EMF is generated at the ends of the coil. Even we can produce same alternating EMF in the coil by making the coil stationary and rotating the magnetic field. This is called the generation of single phase EMF or voltage. We can use this alternating voltage to run our single-phase domestic loads, like an electric bulb or a ceiling.
The next topic is representation of AC sinusoidal quantities by the position of a rotating vector. This rotating vector is called phasor. Till now we know scalar and vector. Now we are going to introduce a new term called phasor. So what is a phasor? Phasor is a rotating vector. So if you see the diagram here, so when the vector is rotating here, the position of the tip of the vector is going to be the magnitude of the sinusoidal waveform. So when the vector is rotating, the tip of the vector, when it is moving, the tip of the vector is giving the magnitude at each and every instant. By means of this position of the rotating vector at a particular instant, we are going to calculate the magnitude of the sinusoidal waveform. So for example here, I have considered several positions, 0 degrees, so 0, 45, 90, 135, 180, 225, 270, 315 and 360. If you observe at 0 degrees, so what is the magnitude? 0. Because we know that V is equal to Vm sin theta is the expression to represent sinusoidal waveform. When theta is equal to 0, so at theta is equal to 0 degrees, what is sin 0? Sin 0 is obviously 0. Then 0 into Vm is 0. So the magnitude at the instant 0 degrees is 0. At 45 degrees, so what is the magnitude at 45 degrees? What is sin 45? 1 by root 2. So what is the magnitude? Vm by root 2. So that means at 45 degrees, the magnitude is plus Vm by root 2. And at 90 degrees, you know that the range of sin theta is -1 to +1. Sin theta value always lies between -1 and +1. So the maximum positive value is +1, maximum negative value is -1. So at 90 degrees, we are having plus Vm. So the magnitude becomes maximum at 90 degrees. And at 135 degrees means, so sin 135. Sin 135 again the magnitude becomes 1 by root 2. So that's why from the maximum value it reduces to Vm by root 2. And at 180, sin 180 is obviously 0. So the magnitude becomes 0 degrees. That's why it came to 0. So after 180 means it is going into third and fourth quadrant. So this is 0 degrees, 90, and this is 180 degrees, this is 270 degrees and 360. We know that sin is positive in the first two quadrants. And what about third and fourth quadrant? The sign always negative. That's why after 180 degrees the magnitude reverses. So and it follows and it reaches maximum, negative maximum, that is minus Vm at 270 degrees. So at 90 degrees it is plus Vm. Exactly opposite to 90 degrees means 270, the magnitude is minus Vm. At 0 the magnitude is 0. At 180 the magnitude is also 0. It is plus and it is minus. From this point onwards, from 180 onwards, the negative value starts. So this is how you are going to represent AC sinusoidal quantity by the position of a rotating vector. By means of this position, we are going to represent a sinusoidal waveform. Okay. So the generation of AC voltage is also going to be explained by using the same diagram. Important definitions. So to understand the concepts further, we have to know some terms or terminology. So these definitions are very much important. Okay, let's discuss the important definitions involved in single phase AC circuits one by one. The first one is nothing but alternating voltage. Already I told you about alternating quantity. So since we are studying electrical circuits, we have to study voltage as well as current. So let us define what is an alternating voltage or alternating current. So the alternating voltage or current is a voltage or current which varies its magnitude as well as polarity periodically. So alternating voltage or current is a voltage or current which varies its magnitude and polarity Periodically means at regular intervals of time. See here. So at this instant, at 0 degrees up to 180 degrees, this pi is nothing but radians. Pi is called radians. Pi radians are 180 degrees. 2 pi radians are 360 degrees. So from 0 to pi, the magnitude is positive. And from pi to 2 pi, the magnitude is negative. And what happens after 2 pi again? The waveform continues like this, positive up to 3 pi. And from 3 pi to 4 pi, the magnitude is negative. So this is how the polarity and magnitude changes periodically. This type of waveform is called an alternating voltage. Similarly, how you represent current? This is the representation of an alternating current waveform by using a sinusoidal waveform. So these two quantities are called as alternating voltage or current, which varies magnitude as well as polarity periodically. See here. So the positive half cycle, where the magnitude is positive, we are going to call it as positive alternation. When the polarity changes, that means the negative half cycle means the polarity is going to be negative for half of the total duration. Total duration is from 0 to 360 degrees. One cycle is nothing but 360 degrees. For 180 degrees, we are having positive alternation, and for remaining 180 degrees, we are having negative alternation. So this positive alternation is going to be happen between 0 and 180, and this negative alternation is going to be happen between 180 to 360 degrees. Okay, so we can call this one as positive half cycle or positive alternation. Similarly, the negative half cycle or negative alternation. Next one, waveform or wave shape. The shape of the curve obtained by plotting the instantaneous values. The shape of the curve obtained by plotting instantaneous values of voltage or current. We can call it as the instantaneous values of alternating quantity. Instead of voltage or current, we can call it as alternating quantity. On y-axis, against time on x-axis. So when you draw a graph between time and any alternating quantity means voltage or current. So when you draw a curve between time and voltage or current, so voltage and current have been taken on y-axis, time has been taken on x-axis. So when you draw a curve, the obtained curve is called as waveform or wave shape. Curve is sinusoidal waveform. This is called waveform. If it is a sinusoidal, we are going to call it a sine wave. So the sine wave has been represented for voltage, or it can be represented for current against time. Okay. So this is called waveform or wave shape. So in this waveform, there are several factors involved. One is called the maximum value, another one alternation, cycle, time period, and here theta is also there. So now coming to theta. So what is this theta? Theta is called angular displacement. So in physics already you studied about the velocity. What is velocity? Distance travelled by time. This is the velocity and an object is moving in translational motion. Suppose if the object is moving in a circular path, then this velocity becomes angular velocity omega, distance becomes angular distance theta, and time becomes t. Okay, what is this omega? Omega is called angular velocity. Since the alternating voltage is going to be produced by means of either rotating a coil or rotating a magnetic field. That's what I told you in the first slide. This AC voltage is going to be generated by rotating a coil in a magnetic field or by rotating a magnetic field around a circular coil. That's why the velocity is called as angular velocity and the displacement is called as angular displacement. Now from this, we know that theta is equals to omega t. So angular displacement we are going to represent in terms of degrees or radians, 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 360 degrees or pi radians, 2 pi radians. We have related this angular displacement with time. So theta is equal to omega t, where omega is called as angular velocity. And what is the definition of angular velocity? Variation in angle So variation in angle in one cycle divided by time taken to complete a cycle. Okay. Here, so what is the angle for one cycle? One cycle means one rotation. For one rotation, how much angular displacement? 2 pi radians or 360 degrees, 2 pi radians. And I am going to assume that the time taken for one rotation is capital T. So 2 pi by T. We all know that frequency is equals to 1 by T. Frequency and time period are inversely proportional. So 1 by T becomes F. So what is general formula for angular frequency or angular velocity? Omega is equal to 2 pi F. Okay. This is all about waveform or wave shape and angular velocity and angular displacement. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I told you that one cycle or one rotation, but in electrical terms we are going to call it as one complete set of positive or negative half values. That means when you draw a sinusoidal waveform, one half cycle and one negative half cycle. The set of one positive half cycle and one negative half cycle is going to be called as one cycle. So this is going to be called as one cycle. Now if the waveform continues, now how many cycles are there? So this is one cycle and this is the next cycle. So total how many cycles are there? 2 cycles. Like that you can continue, you can calculate the number of cycles. So here one complete set of positive or negative values of an alternating quantity is known as cycle. And one cycle always spans for 360 degrees. Keep that in mind. So if you consider here, this is from 0 to 2 pi radians or 0 to 360 degrees is called cycle. One cycle. In this waveform, so we are going to measure from 0 degrees. But the magnitude doesn't start at 0. It has not started. Previously the magnitude starts from 0. But here the magnitude is started at some value. So that's why, since the cycle means it has to span for 360 degrees. That's why after this we have considered the remaining magnitude also. Similarly here also the magnitude starts at Vm, maximum value. That's why it stops at the maximum value, from one maximum to another maximum. Next definition is alternation. One half cycle is going to be called as an alternation. What is the span of this half cycle? Pi radians or 180 degrees. So one half cycle of an alternating quantity is called alternation. One half cycle, keep that in mind. One half cycle of an alternating quantity is called alternation and it spans for 180 degrees. Okay. So this is positive alternation and negative half cycle is called as negative alternation. Time period. So what is time period? The time taken for one complete cycle. So both positive half cycle and negative half cycle. One revolution, one complete revolution. The time taken for one complete revolution is called as time period. The time taken in seconds. Always the units of time you have to represent in seconds. The time taken in seconds to complete one cycle of an alternating quantity. Next one, amplitude or peak value. So I already told you that this Vm is called as maximum value. This maximum value can also be called as either crest value. So generally we are going to call it as either magnitude or maximum value or peak value. And in plus 2 course you have called it as a crest value. Okay. So the maximum value, either it can be positive or negative maximum. The maximum value obtained by an alternating quantity is called its amplitude or peak value or crest value. Here this is called, Vm is called the peak value. And next one, frequency. Already you know about frequency. The number of cycles per second is called frequency. The number of cycles per second. The units is hertz. Hertz or cycles per second. So if you observe the waveform here, for 1 second, we are going to measure always the number of cycles obtained for 1 second. How many cycles are there in this first diagram? Cycles means starting from 0 to, it contains one positive half cycle and one negative half cycle. So for 1 second, how many positive half cycles are there? 2 positive half cycles as well as 2 negative half cycles. That's why here the frequency is 2 cycles per second, because this is one cycle and this is the second cycle. There are 2 cycles here, that's why the frequency is 2 cycles per second or 2 Hz. In this diagram, for 1 second how many cycles are there? So this is the first cycle, second, third and fourth. So 1 and 1 negative, 1 cycle, second cycle, third cycle, fourth cycle. That means 4 cycles per second, which is equivalent to 4 Hz. So here the frequency is high compared to the previous one. If the number of cycles are more for 1 second, we are going to say that the frequency is high. The number of cycles are less in 1 second, we are going to say that the frequency is less. And that's how this frequency is going to be measured, number of cycles per second. So coming to the important definitions, next definition is nothing but phase and phase difference. Okay, so we are discussing about phase and phase difference. These two terms are very much important in the aspect of single phase sinusoidal AC voltage or 3-phase sinusoidal AC voltage. You have to know what is a phase and what is phase difference. Already I told you that a sinusoidal voltage is going to be expressed by means of, or a single phase AC voltage can be expressed by means of a sine waveform. And in this one, the first factor is nothing but the magnitude. And what is this theta? This theta is called phase. Now let us discuss more about this phase as well as phase difference. Okay. Coming to the phase, the definition of phase. The phase of an alternating variable. This alternating variable is nothing but, it can be either voltage or current. So the phase of an alternating variable at any instant is the time interval that has elapsed since the instantaneous value of the variable last passed through 0. So when you want to calculate the phase of any alternating variable, you have to calculate the time interval. The time interval is called the phase. But how we are going to calculate that is time interval? The time interval is nothing but the time elapsed since the instantaneous value of that variable, since the instantaneous value of that particular variable passed through 0 from negative to positive direction. Okay, this is the definition of phase. So let us understand this phase, definition of this phase by using a simple graphical way. I have considered a single phase sinusoidal waveform. So if you observe here, so this waveform will have different phases. So one is at 0 degrees, at 180 degrees and 2 pi degrees. From 0 to 2 pi, we are going to call it as one cycle. 0, 180 degrees, 360 degrees, or 0, pi radians, 2 pi radians, and so on. In this waveform, first of all, let us find out the direction where the waveform is going from negative to positive. Negative means below x-axis. Positive means above x-axis. So if you observe at 0 degrees, the waveform is moving from negative to positive direction. So that means this is one point where we can calculate phase. That means we can calculate phase from this point. Next one, is there any other point? 2 pi. At 2 pi radians or 360 degrees also, the waveform is crossing 0 from negative direction to positive direction. What about this pi and 3 pi? This pi, at this pi or 180 degrees, the waveform is crossing 0, but it is moving from positive direction to negative direction. Similarly at 3 pi also, it is moving from positive to negative. So we don't require this pi and 3 pi. So from where we are going to calculate this phase, point where the waveform crosses 0, last passed through 0. Last passed through 0. So the 0 crossing point has to be determined first. How we are going to, the 0 crossing? The waveform is crossing 0 from negative direction to positive direction. Okay. Now suppose for example I want to calculate phase at this instant of time. As per the definition, you can calculate phase at any instant of time. So at this instant, how we are going to calculate? That is nothing but the time elapsed from the 0, last passed through 0. Before this, where the waveform, that means this interval is called the phase now at this instant. Okay. So this difference, the time elapsed when the waveform last passed through 0 from negative to positive direction is called phase. Okay. I think now you are clearly understood. For example, now I want to calculate phase at this instant. How you are going to calculate phase at this point? So when it last passed through 0 at pi, before this, the waveform crossed 0 at pi, but in which direction? From positive to negative. That means you cannot find phase from this point. Before this pi, 0, at 0, the waveform is crossing the 0 value from negative to positive. That means you have to find the phase from 0 to this point. That is nothing but the time interval from 0 to this point is called the phase in this at this instant of time. Similarly, if you want to calculate phase at this instant, how we are going to calculate? So last passed through 0, before this point, which is the location where the 0, that is 2 pi. At 2, before this point, the last passed 0 point is nothing but 2 pi. Can we calculate phase from 2 pi? Yes, because at this point the waveform is moving from negative to positive. So here this time interval is called phase. Okay, I think now you are very much phase. So the phase of an alternating variable. So this is an alternating variable. At any instant, I have explained 3 instants. At any instant is the time interval. That is the interval that elapsed since the instantaneous value of the variable last passed through 0 from negative to positive. That is all about phase. Okay. So what is the definition of phase difference? The phase difference between two electrical quantities, 2. So when you are going to calculate difference, one single variable is not sufficient. That's why you are going to consider 2 different electrical quantities of same frequency. Okay. So keep in mind that the 2 electrical quantities must have the same frequency. So when you want to find out the difference between 2 electrical quantities of same frequency, how you are going to calculate the difference? That is the difference in phase between those 2 quantities measured when they reach either maximum or 0 values. So the phase difference between 2 electrical quantities of same frequency is defined as the difference in phase. The difference in phase between those 2 electrical quantities measured when they reach their or 0 values. Let us consider the one phase like this, and I will assume that the second phase will be delayed by some angle. That delay is called the phase difference. Okay. There are 2 different electrical quantities here. One waveform starts at 0 and another waveform starts at some theta. Now what is that theta? That is the difference between these 2. That difference is called phase difference. Now we are going to measure the phase difference. The difference is going to be measured when they reach their maximum or 0 values. So here let us measure at 0 instants where the waveform reaches 0 values. Let us measure those values. Here these are the 2 points where the waveform reached 0 from negative to positive. Here we can measure from either negative to positive or positive to negative. So these are the 2 points where the waveform reaches 0. Now the difference between these is called the phase difference. Or again here the 2 waveforms reaches 0 location from positive to negative. This difference between the 2 points is also called phase difference. Again at this instant the waveform reaches 0 from negative to positive. So that's why the difference between these 2 points is also called phase difference. And also at this instance, this is also we are going to measure, we are going to call it as phase difference. So when the waveform reaches 0 from the same direction, either it can be negative to positive or positive to negative, the difference between those 2 points is called phase difference. Similarly, we can calculate the phase difference when the waveform reaches maximum, positive maximum or negative maximum. So the difference between these 2 points is also called as phase difference, or we can also calculate the phase difference at these 2 peak values, or we can also calculate the phase difference at these negative peak values also. All these are going to be same. That's all about phase difference. Okay. Next one is the peak value. So peak value, or we can also call it as maximum value, or in physics already you know this crest value. In +2 course you call it as a crest value. The same crest value can be called it as maximum value, or you can also call it as peak value. So what is the definition? The maximum value, either it can be positive or negative, obtained by an alternating quantity. So the maximum value obtained by an alternating quantity is called its amplitude. This amplitude is going to be called as sometimes peak value or maximum value. So if you see the diagram, so the waveform starts from 0 and it reaches a maximum value at some 90 degrees. This point is called the peak value, where the magnitude is maximum is called the peak point or peak value. Okay. So we are going to call it as Vm as the maximum value or peak value, and here we are going to call it as amplitude also. And what is the negative maximum here? This is the negative maximum. Okay. But of course, in case of pure sinusoidal, the positive maximum and negative maximum both are same in magnitude. This is how we are going to calculate the maximum value. Next one, peak to peak value. So what is peak to peak? Already I explained you the peak value, that is maximum value. Now coming to the peak to peak, the maximum variation between maximum positive value and maximum negative instantaneous value. So if you see the waveform here, what is the peak value? Starting, always the peak value is going to be measured from x-axis. So starting from this is the maximum value or peak value. Now what is peak to peak? Peak to peak means the maximum variation between maximum positive value. What is the maximum positive value? This is the maximum positive value. And what is the maximum negative value? This is the maximum negative value. So the distance between these two is called peak to peak voltage. So the maximum variation between maximum positive value and maximum negative value is called peak to peak voltage. So here also you can see this is the maximum value, or we can also call this one as the maximum value. Positive maximum, negative maximum. In this case, how we are going to measure the peak to peak value? From positive maximum to negative maximum. This distance is called peak to peak voltage, or peak to peak, from one peak to another peak, positive peak to negative peak. Suppose if you want to calculate the peak to peak value for pure AC, this is the pure AC where the positive maximum and the negative maximum both are same. So for example, if you assume that the positive maximum is Vm and negative maximum is minus Vm. Now what is the distance, total distance here? 2 Vm. So 2 Vm is the peak to peak value in case of pure sinusoidal. Pure sinusoidal means positive half cycle and negative half cycle magnitudes will be same and duration will also be same. The span will also be the same because it will have 180 degrees span. Negative half cycle will also have 180 degrees span. The type of waveform is called pure sinusoidal. So coming to the definition of average. Average means you know that the average value of an alternating quantity is defined as the time average. The average value can be determined by using either graphical method or analytical method. So let us see this graphical method. So in this graphical method, we are going to consider the instantaneous values. Here I have taken current waveform. So for example, at this instant the current is I1, at this instant I2, I3, I4 and so on, In. I have considered n instantaneous values. Now how are you going to calculate I1 plus I2 plus and so on, In divided by n? This n is nothing but the number of instantaneous values. So this is one way of calculating the average value of the current using graphical method. Now coming to the analytical method, you are going to take the area under one cycle. How we are going to calculate area under one cycle? When there is a graph like this, we are just going to use integral. So I average is area under one cycle divided by base length. So this total area under the cycle How you are going to calculate? You are going to consider a small differential length dt. Then you are going to integrate this dt from 0 to t. So like this. So I average is going to be obtained by integrating the variable I from 0 to capital T with respect to time, divided by what is the total base length here, that is t, divided by t. That is the analytical method. Okay. So I into dt divided by capital T. This I into dt will be integrated from 0 to t, total time period t. So this is the analytical method which we are going to use in this course to calculate the average value. Next one, RMS value. This RMS value is nothing but root mean square. This R indicates, R means root, M is nothing but mean, and S is nothing but square. So we are going to call it as root mean square. This other name for RMS value is effective value. Okay. Let us see the definition here. The effective or RMS value of an alternating current. Here I have considered alternating current. You can also calculate alternating voltage. So the effective or RMS value of an alternating current is the steady current which when flowing through a given resistance for a given time period produces the same amount of heat as produced by alternating current when flowing through the same resistance for same time. So this is a big definition. I will try to explain the definition by using a simple diagram. So consider this diagram. Now I have applied a sinusoidal voltage to a resistance R. I have applied a sinusoidal AC voltage, single phase AC voltage to a resistance R, and I will allow to flow a current I through this resistance for some time t. Okay. So I will allow a current to pass through this resistor. What is the type of current considered here? Sinusoidal current, because when you apply a sinusoidal voltage, it will produce sinusoidal current only. So in this, a sinusoidal current will flow. When this flows for a period of time t, since resistor is a dissipative element, it dissipates some heat. You can measure the heat that is radiated from the resistor. Now, let us consider the same resistor and apply a DC voltage. For how much time? The same time. The resistance is also same here. Okay. So I have considered the same resistor and I applied a DC voltage. Instead of AC sinusoidal voltage, I applied a DC voltage for the same time period t. Then this DC voltage will produce a DC current. DC voltage will produce a DC current through this resistor. Now this resistor will dissipate some amount of heat because it is a passive element. Now measure the heat dissipated by the resistor when a DC current flows through. This is same as the heat dissipated by the resistor when it is supplied by AC current. That value is called RMS value or effective value. Okay. So when you are going to supply AC and DC for the same resistance for same amount of time, the heat will be produced is same in both the cases. That value is called RMS value. The effective or RMS value of an alternating current is the steady current or DC current which when flowing through a given resistance for a given time produces same amount of heat as produced by the alternating current when flowing through the same resistance for the same time. Okay. So that's how you are going to define the RMS or effective value. So mathematically, how you are going to calculate this? The RMS or effective value can be calculated by using either graphical method or analytical method. So let us see how you are going to calculate using graphical method. This graphical method is best suitable for complicated waveforms. We are not going to use this method more because it is not that much accurate. It will give only an approximate RMS value. So the same way you are going to consider some instantaneous currents at various instants and according to the definition you are going to do root mean square. So here, so as per the definition, RMS means root mean square. So root mean square is the definition. Now what are the instantaneous values here? I1, I2, I3, I4 and so on, In. So first you have to do the square of the instantaneous values. So I1 square, I2 square, I3 square and so on, In square. So root mean square means first you are going to do the square of all the instantaneous values. Mean means, what is meant by mean? Mean is nothing but average. Now how will you do average of these squares? I1 square plus I2 square plus I3 square and so on, In square divided by total instantaneous quantities are En. Mean is over. Next, the final one is nothing but root. So this is called IRMS. Okay. So root to mean square can be calculated from opposite side. First you are going to do the square of all the instantaneous values. Next you are going to take the mean of the instantaneous values. Then you are going to find out the root of those mean. See, root mean square can be expressed mathematically by using this formula. Next one, let us discuss how you are going to calculate by using analytical method. First you are going to do the squares of all the quantities. Now I have considered here a small instantaneous value and the mean will be calculated by using integral. Then you are going to take the root. So this is the analytical method. Okay, we are going to use this analytical method for calculating the RMS value. The same expression can be represented here. Only thing is you are doing the square of a small differential quantity, then you are going to integrate to get the mean divided by total time, and finally you are going to take the root of the mean. So this is the mathematical representation of RMS value or effective value. Next one, peak factor. Peak factor or crest factor. So what is the definition? So peak factor is nothing but the ratio of its maximum value to the RMS value. The peak factor of an alternating quantity is defined as the ratio of its maximum value to the RMS value. So mathematically peak factor can be written as peak factor is equal to maximum value by RMS value. And the last one is nothing but form factor. This form factor is also a ratio of an alternating quantity in terms of RMS value and average value. So peak factor is maximum by RMS and next form factor is nothing but RMS by average. So form factor is the ratio of RMS value to the average value. Okay. So this is all about the definitions. Now let us calculate this RMS, average value as well as peak factor and form factor for a sinusoidal waveform. Let us try to calculate the average value of a sinusoidal waveform. Here I have considered a current. So what is the expression for current here? It is I is equals to Im sin theta. So here this theta is nothing but omega into t. Now when you are going to calculate average value, before going to apply the analytical method, first you have to verify whether the given waveform is symmetrical or not. This symmetry has to be verified only when you are calculating average value. So this waveform, the given waveform is symmetrical. Symmetrical with respect to time axis or with respect to theta axis. So that's why what is actual formula for calculating I average using analytical method? 1 by t integral 0 to t I dt. Okay. So I average is nothing but 1 by t integral 0 to t I dt. Since it is a symmetrical waveform, This is a symmetrical waveform. So how we have identified it as a symmetry? The length of the positive half as well as negative half is same. The magnitude of positive half and negative half is same in magnitude but the opposite in polarity. That's why it is symmetrical. So now we are going to calculate only for t by 2 period. This is total time t. Now we are going to only for time period t by 2. So instead of our one cycle, we are going to calculate our only half cycle. Now this formula becomes 1 by t by 2 integral 0 to t by 2 I dt. Okay. So now here instead of time, what is the variable considered here? Theta. So what is the span here for half period? Pi radians. So we can write this one as 1 by pi integral 0 to pi. What is I here? I is nothing but Im sin theta. Im sin theta d theta. Because the variable here, the t variable is replaced by angle pi in terms of radians. That's why variable t is also replaced by theta. The variable is theta. That's why Im is constant. Take out of the integral. So Im by pi integral 0 to pi sin theta d theta. Now what is integral of sin theta? Already we know that the integral of sin theta is cos theta. So Im divided by pi into integral is minus cos theta. What are the limits here? 0 to pi. Okay, we are not going to consider initial conditions here. The integral of sin theta is minus cos theta. Now substitute the limits. Then it becomes Im by pi. I am going to take the minus sign out to avoid confusion. Minus sign. Now cos theta is there. First one is pi. Cos pi minus. Second limit is 0. Cos 0. So this minus sign I have taken out of the. Now, so this is Im. Im by pi. What is cos pi? Cos pi value we already know it is minus 1. Minus, what is cos 0? 1. Minus 1 is minus 2. And this minus becomes plus. So finally what is the answer? 2 Im by pi. This is the average value of the given alternating quantity. If instead of current the voltage is given, then you can express the average value of the voltage V average as 2 Vm by pi. Okay. So the same can be represented or calculated, the same procedure can be applied if you want to calculate V average also. Okay, that is about average value of a sinusoidal quantity. Next one, RMS value. So here in case of RMS value, there is no need to find whether the waveform is symmetrical or not, because we are doing the squares. What is the first thing we are going to do to calculate RMS value? We are going to square, then we are going to take mean, then we are going to take root. What is minus 1 whole square? It becomes 1. So negative minus becomes plus. That's why there is no need to verify whether the waveform is symmetrical or not. You can directly calculate the RMS value for full cycle. That means for complete cycle you can calculate for any waveform. So this is the complete cycle time period t. For one cycle you can calculate the RMS value for any waveform. So here the given waveform is I is equals to Im sin theta. Okay. As per the definition, RMS can be calculated as 1 by t integral 0 to t I square dt under root. So this is the IRMS. 1 by t integral 0 to t I square dt under root. So here what is that? Now time variables has to be replaced with theta variables. So what is one cycle here? 2 pi radians. So 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to 2 pi. Now what is I here? Im sin theta whole square, dt will be replaced by d theta. This is under root. So t has been replaced by 2 pi. So 1 by 2 pi is 0 to 2 pi. Now y is nothing but the current waveform expression, Im sin theta whole square, dt is nothing but d theta. Now here Im square is constant, so take out of the integral Im square by 2, integral 0 to 2 pi sin square theta d theta. Now how will you integrate sin square theta? So sin square theta, we know that sin square theta is equals to 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. From trigonometry, you know that sin square theta is 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. Now replace sin square theta with this expression. So Im square divided by 2 pi integral 0 to 2 pi 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2 into d theta. So here there are two terms, 1 by 2 is one term, next minus cos 2 theta by 2 is another term. So separate the terms. So Im square by 2 pi. So first one is integral 0 to 2 pi to d theta. Next one is integral 0 to 2 pi cos 2 theta by 2. Okay. Now we have separated the two terms, 1 by 2 cos 2 theta by 2. Since the denominator is having constant number, that is 2, we can take out of the integral and we can do the integration. So Im square divided by 4 pi. I have taken out of this 2 out of the integral, this 2 also, because both are common. That means here there is only 1 d theta. So for what is integration for 1? It is theta. Now what are the limits here? 0 to 2 pi minus. Now what is the integration of cos 2 theta? So I forgot to write d theta here. What is integration of cos 2 theta? That is sin 2 theta by 2. And what are the limits? 0 to 2 pi. So this is all under root. Now substitute the limits here. Im square divided by 4 pi. If you substitute the limits here, 2 pi minus 0. So first limit is 2 pi, second limit is 0. So 2 pi minus 0 minus, what is the first limit? 2 pi. 2 pi into 2 means sin 4 pi by 2 minus sin 0 by 2. Sin 0 by 2. So this is how you are going to apply the limits. This is all under root. Now finally Im square divided by 4 pi. Now it is 2 pi here minus, what is sin 4 pi? Sin 2 pi, sin 4 pi even terms, it is always 0. This is 0. And what is sin 0? 0. Here it is 0. That means these three terms will cancel out. So only term we are having is 2 pi under root. Now from this expression we can get that IRMS is Im square divided by 4 pi into 2 pi. So this pi gets cancels, 2 gets cancelled by 2 times. The final expression for IRMS is Im by root 2. So what is IRMS? The final expression for IRMS is Im by root 2. If you want to calculate for voltage, you have to do the same process. So VRMS will be Vm by root 2. Okay. Here in case of RMS value, keep in mind that there is no need to verify whether the waveform is symmetrical or not. Because we are squaring all the instantaneous value. When you square the instantaneous value, the negative value, if any exists, the negative instantaneous value will also become positive. That's why we are going to calculate the RMS value for complete cycle from 0 to 2 pi. The symmetry has to be verified only when you are going to calculate average value. That's it. This is all about average value and RMS value. And the final, peak factor. Well, what is the definition of peak factor? So peak factor is nothing but the ratio of maximum value to the RMS value. So according to the definition, the peak factor is the ratio of maximum value to RMS value of an alternating quantity. Here the alternating quantity is, I have considered the same alternating quantity. I is equals to Im sin theta. And we have calculated I average. What is I average? I average is 2 Im by pi. And what is I RMS? Im by root 2. Already we have calculated. What is this Im? This is nothing but the maximum value. So what is the maximum value? Maximum value is Im. And what is RMS value? Im by root 2. So this Im gets cancels. The answer is root 2. Root 2 means 1.414. So the peak factor is 1.414 for a sinusoidal waveform. So the peak factor can be obtained from maximum value and RMS value. Already we know the maximum value from the waveform, and we already calculated the RMS value. Similarly, how you are going to calculate form factor? According to the definition, form factor is nothing but the ratio of RMS value to the average value. So we know that I average is 2 Im by pi and I RMS is Im by, we have already calculated these two values. Now substitute that. I RMS is Im by root 2. What is average value? 2 Im by pi. So this Im get cancels. The answer will be pi by 2 root 2. It will be approximately 1.11. So the form factor of a sinusoidal waveform is 1.11. Okay. This is how you are going to calculate the average value, RMS value, peak factor and form factor for a sinusoidal waveform. These calculations for a sinusoidal waveform is very, very important. Okay. And we will do some simple problems on this form factor in the next class. Thank you very much.